And we are live.
Yay.
And look
back.
who's here.
Yeah, I'm finally back. Yeah.
And
finally.
Yeah, no fault of your own. So deadlines and infections at the workplace.
Yeah. We're still not. I said before, we're running with the skeleton crew, which means one bone falls out, like one person calls out, and everything's fucked.
Wow.
So like last week's schedule, I had a different schedule every day, like working up until like 9 just to like cover lessons and.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you got a deadline this month?
No, like that was the end of the month. And
Okay,
now,
okay.
Or ended last month, and it's just been covering the lessons from.
Wow, but lots of negative tests, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Finally, yeah.
Good.
There was a point where I'm just like, oh, 2 people in the office that I sit relatively close to got it. So, cool. Oh, home test says I'm positive. Cool. Okay, off to the clinic. Oh, it says negative. Okay, cool. Fine. Yeah.
Wow. So, I guess people listening to the audio-only version of this will have to just guess whether I just muted you for 2 episodes or if you actually weren't here.
I wouldn't blame you sometimes. Yeah? Like, oh, I'm kind of tired about this. I'm going to just mute the microphone. Yeah.
I will not have my opinions contested. Mute. All right. So, so we got a good group of topics for this week.
Nice.
And stuff keeps coming up. It's really hard to, like, cut off. You know, it's like, oh, but one more. But we just don't have the time. But there's
always leaving one more.
Yes. So there's stuff already for next week.
You thought we were going to get there. Tune in next time. Yeah.
Keep you guessing. So hey, Matt, how's it going? Good to see you, and thank you. Yeah, we're gonna mention the bundle that you gifted us.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, right away. So thanks so much. Yes, Chris is back.
I was thinking, sounds kind of selfish. One of the downsides of pricing my itch stuff is kind of pay what you want. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's not a decent value to include in those bundles.
Oh, right.
And that's totally like a me thing, right? I've gone like, I've already made this accessible because I don't want to put my stuff behind a paywall.
Yeah.
So putting it in a bundle is kind of.
I've seen that too. Yeah, because I looked at a few of the things that were in the bundle, and it is pay what you want. So yeah. But I mean, but if you're the kind of person that can zero pay what you want,
yeah.
I want to pay nothing.
I mean, like that's kind of the thing. It's funny. Mm-hmm. Like I know, all kind of off topic, but I put Brighthammer also up on drive-through RPG. Mm-hmm. I've made nothing.
Oh wow!
Like I left it at pay what you want. Well, so just replace for $3. Meanwhile, on itch, people are paying like 10, 20. I think someone even paid like $20 for this thing,
nice,
and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Thank you very much. On drive-through RPG, it's a bunch of tightwads.
Where
they see pay what you want and they think, oh, free. Right? So
yeah, that's funny. I wonder what the mentality, because it's all the commercial stuff, all the commercially produced stuff. So you think they'd want to support, or maybe they just see that as a sucker.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think, yeah.
Now I have a digital copy.
I got it. Yeah.
Right. And it might just be like digital hoarders. It's like, well, I'm going to download this because.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
But all right, so yeah, let's do this.
Cool.
All right. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
Chris is back this week.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, cue applause.
So I will. Oh, wait. So I won't be talking to a JPEG this week. I actually have.
At least get a PNG so you can have a transparent background.
That's right. I should have, but I got it so the microphone like matches exactly. So the where the JPEG cuts off, your mic stand is still like reaching you, so people can barely tell. But there's like the edge of some board game on the table. So I think it was. Blood Bowl or something is still half on the table. It's not a perfect effect. In other words.
Hey, you don't want to hit the uncanny valley, like right?
Right. Yeah. And this week on the weekly, itch.io's trans rights bundle. Thank you, Matt. And Wizards of the Coast sues TSR3 for fraud.
Again?
Yes. This is the earlier filing, but we finally got the papers were released, so people are talking about what this is. Warlock's Trader Edition, and a new Dune box set. So
is that the Warlock? Was that Trader DER or
Traitor?
Traitor.
Yeah,
okay.
Traitor.
Okay.
Yeah. So the funny thing about that is when I was doing the flip through of that original book, the first thing that people were saying is that font is a deal breaker. I will not.
Really?
And that is what they changed.
Interesting. Okay.
Or one of the things. There's several things. But yeah, one of the things they changed was the font and the layout, which I didn't mind. It was kind of old school, like PC, RPG, like, DOS
That was kind of supposed to be the point, right?
Yeah. But now they've updated it to something a little bit more Yeah, a little more practical and maybe a little less Warhammer looking. Okay. So yeah, there's not as much. Yeah.
More soulless. Right.
They can claim less confusion.
More soulless. I don't think that works. Yeah. Less soulful.
Yeah, there we go. Soulful. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and right off the top, we want to thank Matt. Matt gifted us this bundle, and it is an insane amount of stuff. Yeah, so thank you so much. And the nice thing about itch.io, unlike Drive-Thru RPG, when you buy a bundle, they just don't dump it all into your library. And then kind of give permission to the creators to spam you, because that was the thing that I think it was the Black Lives Matter bundle. Suddenly my spam folder is full of everybody, because I have purchased their product.
You're talking about Drive-Thru RPG?
Drive-Thru RPG. Yep, okay. If I got it in a bundle, and I'm just getting spammed like crazy. And itch.io does two things. They don't do that. They let you, specifically decide who you want to hear from. And they don't dump it in your library. They let you add it to your library. You have it available to you, and it's not instantly.
Yeah, there's like if you get it or get gifted it, thank you, Matt, you're taken to like a bundle page, and it says, here's the titles in the bundle, which ones you want to download. Right. I suppose it's a little bit annoying if you want to download everything, because you got but on the other hand, it's like, whoa, right?
Yeah, it's not that dump. And then also that spam then, because you are a customer now on Drive-Thru RPG, you're a customer, and they're just like, hey, I didn't even know I had your game, but good for me.
Yeah, that thing you didn't really want but was included, gotcha now. Yeah.
Right. So this bundle is 493 items for $5. So yeah, so get on that if you have interest. I think we've still got another like 20 some days.
I think so, yeah.
But they've already met the goal. So so thanks again, Matt. And this is a group of tabletop role-playing designers that are raising money to help support trans rights in Texas. So the title of the bundle is TTRPGs for Trans Rights in Texas. And the motivation for this is based on
Texas?
Yes, it was Texas. That's I can finish it there. No, but there was previous legislation, but this wasn't even involving actual legislation. It was directives and letters from the governor, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who asked the state's Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate instances of gender-affirming care for transgender kids as parental child abuse. So there were things that I saw. I don't know everything about it, but there are things that I saw about they were telling doctors and teachers that they were just making this arbitrary. You have like 2 weeks or some amount of days to inform the parents if you suspect the child. All of this, and none of this was legal. It was all just directives and letters that came through. So they're really pushing the limit here, and I think they're going to see lawsuits and things,
hopefully,
based on this, because this is crazy. So it's so two of the charities that you're supporting with the bundle, and they had a $300,000 goal, which they've already broken. Nice. And the charities are the Transgender Education Network of Texas and the Organización Latina de Trans en Texas.
Nice.
Texas. I think I got that. And so, yeah, it's definitely worth, and it's an insane amount, and it's really surprising stuff. I mean, there were people like the Numenera guys. I'm totally blanking.
Cypher.
Yes.
Monty Cook.
Yeah, Monty Cook. Yeah, so Monty Cook contributed the Numenera, the Strange, as well as Numenera Quick Start, and their Consent in Gaming that they published. And there are things like, which I think might be our first game when we're all together again playing.
I'm listening.
The Thirsty Sword Lesbians made it on the list.
By Evil Hat, published by Evil Hat. And I've got a copy of that back in the States for when COVID never ends. I can pick it up, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was voted the best role-playing game summer 2021. So I guess nobody ever played it in person then if it was that summer. And also Aegon, the Greek mythology game. Yeah, so there's some good stuff. And a game where you absolutely must not give any attention to Jonathan Frakes.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
Right. But there's a lot of really great stuff in there. And
what is the title for that one? It's like Jonathan Frakes wants your attention. You absolutely must not give it to him or something. Yeah.
So a lot of good stuff, and a really like wide range, of every kind of genre and every kind of, and even the solo games, journaling games. There's a lot of stuff in there. So take a look at that.
It's like something like 496, something like that.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of stuff. And like we said, itch.io makes it very easy to sort through that. You don't have to download it as a giant zip or install it directly into your library. You can kind of pick and choose as you decide what you're going to play, what you want to read. So yeah, that was great. That was a great thing to see. And our next segment. Oh, we actually have
we have
some
a video
for this, or actually a little bit of. If I can scroll to the...
I still don't know how you see the screen. That's all the way across the studio.
Don't. That's the trick.
It's a whole muscle memory.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, yes. Haha. There. Okay. We'll lean back. Yeah.
So for the next 30 minutes, please join us as we present to you As the Gygax Turns.
A whole 30 minutes, really.
Well, part of the 30 minutes. Sponsored by... we don't have a sponsor.
Yeah.
But
if you want to sponsor us.
Yes. Yep. I guess DriveThruRPG technically is sponsored.
Oh,
yes.
nice.
So you click that affiliate link and support our sponsor.
Yes, let us play more for Forbidden Psalm and Blaster magazines.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was the big purchase we made. So just to let you know, that affiliate link below that goes to DriveThruRPG gives us credits that we can then use to download either the print-on-demand or PDF versions of things, and so that'll get you more reviews and us more knowledgeable about what's going on in games. So thank you so much.
Game-related.
Yes.
Not about other stuff,
Not about life. We're still going to be ignorant to most subjects. But Wizards of the Coast, on this edition of As the Gygax Turns, Wizards of the Coast is moving against TSR.
Which TSR is this? Are we up to
TSR3,
like 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the official, the Justin Lanas, Ernie, now Gary Gygax Jr. So this is the filing is for a trademark cancellation procedure.
Okay.
And so this is Wizards of the Coast with big fat lawyers. Filing this actual original filing was December 7th, but we haven't seen, or I'm sorry, the TSR3's filing was December 7th for their ownership of the TSR trademark. And then they started, of course, we mentioned the Indiegogo campaign to fund that.
Did that get shut down or canceled or stopped?
I'm not sure if there's been any movement on that. But they then voluntarily dismissed their action.
Because they knew it was shit.
And kept the Indiegogo going. Yeah. And we've covered also that they were approaching the designer of the original Wizard Head logo. They've approached several contractors that were TSR contractors or employees to kind of try to give them credibility to this ownership. And
I don't believe anyone said yes.
Right. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. Thankfully, everyone kind of suspected that there was shenanigans, and
I was going to say bullshittery, but okay.
Denied. Right. So Wizards' response is they are citing fraud in this cause of action, and they're alleging that TSR3 misled the trademark office by misrepresenting what they had a claim to in their application. So that's what this is based on. And a Twitter user, Mike Dunford, kind of breaks down everything on his Twitter. So if you'd like to see, he gives links to the actual filings, all the legalese and stuff. But he said, it appears that Wizards of the Coast started the trademark cancellation proceedings for at least some of the marks that TSR registered. So some of the actual graphic representation. And there's a link. So basically they're saying, Wizards is saying, we were here first. Your use is going to make people think you're associated with us. And anyway, if you were more honest in your application, we wouldn't have issued this mark.
Wow.
So the other funny thing that came up during this is TSR3 was also claiming that they created Gen Con, like they founded Gen Con, which actually began before TSR, the original TSR, even existed. So a lot of odd and false claims. So we'll see how much this is actually going to cost these guys.
Do they have anything to lose?
Yeah, right. That's true. It's like blood from a stone.
As a company.
Yeah, right.
Or are we going to see individuals like selling their houses and stuff because of this?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on how they structured their business. Like, their liability through their...
Or did they have an idea of what this was going to cost them, which is why they left the Indiegogo up. Where it's like, this is going to pay our legal fees.
Yeah, that could be the case. And because the Indiegogo is for freedom and creativity and whatever they're they're claiming that they're standing for. But it's just going to go to legal bills.
Yeah,
I have a feeling. So that was a continuing. And there's also been some other shenanigans which we didn't really cover. They were representing published books, and it turned out that that were going to appear. Like you pre-order. I don't know if it was Giant Lands or their version of Star Frontiers, but they were showing images of a published book in hand and piles of these books. And it turned out those were templates that you could download and just kind of, copy paste your covers in there to give the illusion when you're doing those kind of shady, like, self-help or multi-level marketing.
Well, I mean, okay, they do have other purposes too. Like I've seen some really good like Kickstarters or like indie TTRPG creators going like, look at this mock-up, right? Like, wouldn't this look awesome as a hardcover,
yes,
right?
yes,
And they very clearly say, this is not the actual thing, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you absolutely go like, look at this book.
It's real.
It's real, right?
Yes. Yeah, so, of course, it is used for mock-ups, but it can be misused, right? Yeah. So they were misrepresenting that as well. So people were posting those images, and it just goes around and around with all the... And I can't believe that anyone is giving them still time of day. I mean, I guess it's fun to cover because it's like, what will they try next?
Yeah, what will they try next? Something about NFTs going in there as well. Yeah, just don't want to touch that.
I can't wait for that. Well, wait, if we made
they've already started.
The wizard head logo was
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't slam. I can. But I can't slam them or TSR3 for doing NFTs when WotC is like.
Right.
Magic cards.
Yeah, all that art from Magic cards. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, if you thought the Black Lotus card was valuable, imagine the NFT.
Imagine not actually owning anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you do get a link to the JPEG.
Yeah. I love that. I love how you get a link to a JPEG, right. And there's no guarantee that the place where the JPEG is hosted is going to stay around. So
right. It may disappear.
2, 3, 5, 10 years, you have a dead link. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's very amazing. But speaking of things that aren't ridiculous,
cool.
A new edition of Warlock, of the Warlock core rules, has been released. So they marketed this as the same great game, awesome new look. So new fonts, new layout, and new art.
Cool.
So if you already have the original version of Warlock, you don't need this version, but you probably should buy it anyhow.
Are they sponsoring us?
And you want it. Well, if you click that link in the description to the Trader Edition. So a complaint, maybe a common complaint that they got, and maybe even in the discussion on DriveThruRPG, people are like, oh, the font. They used a kind of computer DOS-looking font to lay everything out, which was very reminiscent of 80s, of what 80s fantasy looked like, and that's what they were trying to capture. But they have since, with this edition, and this is my absolute favorite rules light kind of grim, dark fantasy.
To check up on how the campaign you're going.
Yeah, it's going. Yeah, so we're finally back after the holidays. We had another session the week before last, and it's really fun. I mean, rules light. So, and they suggest this in the marketing, even for the original edition, is. This is pretty light on setting, and they have since released a lot more of their kingdom setting for this game. But use this for any previously published, things, wonderful things that you haven't played yet, and don't have a system for, for the basically Warhammer Fantasy. So they really leaned heavily into that, and it works amazingly.
Nice.
Well, there's very little you have to do for conversion, and it plays really well. So you can actually play the story. And unlike, I haven't ever played. I've just read through the 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy, but it's pretty heavy, and you're gonna be doing a lot more rules lookups, especially with your first campaign, than would be fun to play with. And I'm playing with relatively new players, so I think they enjoy the rules light aspect of it and just focusing on story and role play, because it's Enemy Within is a really complicated. The scenarios, are really complicated, and it's fun just to try to unravel that instead of say, okay, wait, I've got to get my social status up before we can even consider talking to that guy.
So it's a bit of a tangent, but is it more, since you're running it, do you find you have to do more rulings over rules, or is it a lot of kind of judgment calls? Or because that can sometimes happen with rules light stuff. It's kind of like, here's the central mechanic, and you decide when it applies and how and what. Right.
It's enough. Like they were very conscious of making something that could replace everything. That basically it's a statless. It's a statless system. So there are times where you just default. I think the only judgment calls that I've made is defaulting to, okay, just roll your career skill instead of any other ability skills, because a thief would have these like different types of abilities, and that's something that a thief could do. So just roll your thief skill, things like that. And then also it has a nice luck mechanic as well. So we've haven't leaned into it very well, but kind of forcing a luck roll is really fun too. And because it reduces your luck and it also kind of can shake things up. So that's been fun. And the magic is deadly, just like in Warhammer Fantasy. So it's worked really well. I haven't had to break immersion, which I think is the thing that I enjoy the most about the rules light system. And there's still the only thing I've had to add on, which they actually do include in their sci-fi setting.
Oh, nice.
So they did a kind of like a more Rogue Trader version that includes a kind of chaos corruption table and kind of scale. So I've included that because Enemy Within relies so much on having to make these resisting corruption rolls. So that was the only thing that I had to kind of copy paste in. But they already had like a list of mutations and everything from their sci-fi setting. So it existed. They just didn't have it.
Nice. Anybody have a tentacle arm or a fly head or
they've
three
seen
eyes
some.
yet?
Yeah, they've seen hands or eyes with in the middle of palms of hands and things, but nothing yet. We're getting there though. If they there's a couple more rolls. They've been rolling incredibly well though for corruption. So I've been very surprised. They're very resistant at this point.
Nice.
But so the platinum selling game. So here are some of the changes that they did. There's a few wording changes for clarity. The career skills are now a value of your lowest skill as opposed to this average. They were doing an averaging, which was a little bit clumsy. Every time you kind of leveled up, you made a little calculation. Average, right. So this is just based on your lowest skill. They changed from a 2d6 to a 1d6 to roll on the critical roll kind of negative effects because it was getting really, really deadly. So this reduces things a little bit, and but it's still all of the content. Oh, and then blast and foulness spells had their stamina reduced, and that's the thing you pay. So you have stamina and luck are your only two stats, and you basically pay life. It's like blood magic to cast spells. So they changed that a little bit to make some simpler spells a little less costly. Yeah, but it's really fun. I would highly recommend if you want to play around, because there's Cubicle 7 has released PDFs of all the original Enemy Within, so it's really accessible. You don't have to buy. I mean, the Cubicle 7 books for 4th edition are gorgeous. I have the limited edition slipcover ones. They're gorgeous art, and there's a lot of stuff in them that's very useful, especially the companion books. A lot of details about travel rules and corruption rules, and details of kind of behind the scenes or the workings of the kingdom of the empire and how that goes. But for Warlock itself, there's also they've been doing more and more, and it's a lot of community generated support for the kingdom. And it is very corrupt and always raining and pretty muddy and cruddy.
So it's England. It's England.
Right. Oh yeah, that's what they're doing.
Everything's foggy and wet and muddy and bloody, and nobody's happy, and everyone's just kind of sodden. Yeah.
Yes. And corrupt as hell. That's the fun thing, is playing the corruption. I like the players are kind of optimistic. Hey, we're going to get a reward if we do this, and I'm like, okay, you can try, but it's been really fun. So check that link for the Trader Edition, and I like the original art. I really like the art from the first edition. This is moving a little bit away from the Warhammer look, so I think that's why they wanted to do it, is just to say, this is our own thing. Right. And it's beautiful. So check it out, and the system is really, really fun to run. I've never thought that it would so seamlessly kind of replace either first edition or 4th edition for running these old classic adventures.
Do second and third not exist?
Third was a board game. That was the Fantasy Flight one. Right. Second exists as well, but this is more, I think, specifically trying to capture fighting fantasy and first edition in its scope. So the last thing that I want to talk about. So Modiphius. And so last week we talked about what they did, and they said more to come soon with Mutant Chronicles, and here's a re-release of the custom dice. And then they posted on Twitter a JPEG of a press release. So I hate when they do text in a JPEG. And they basically said, we're done. We're just kind of,
Did they give any kind of explanation as to what happened with Mutant Chronicles?
No. I think, though, talking to industry people, so you may want to see my interview. Nice. No, I don't think any of that made it into the recording. But talking to people that kind of are currently dealing with the Mutant Chronicles license, their thinking was that it just the 4-year delay of this Kickstarter and having to maintain the rights, not producing. They were producing nothing during that time for Mutant Chronicles while Siege of the Citadel was going. So I think they just became tired of negotiating for that and not really having any plans what they were going to do with the license. And so they said, we're just done. I think with the RPG, we've done as much as we're going to do, which is really sad because I've really been enjoying that and really, and the lore series was really geared towards RPG players, like revealing. So now I'm going to kind of shift because we talked to Alex from Resnova about the Warzone Eternal. Yep. So we're going to kind of pivot, and their Warzone, their Mutant Chronicles setting for Warzone Eternal is much more kind of first edition.
Okay.
And so we're gonna first edition Warzone, second edition of the RPG. So we're gonna kind of, White Star may not be mentioned again, and certain things that Modiphius added may. We're gonna talk a little bit more, more about what's active, the current meta, the current lore that's going on, and like Alex said in the interview. There is nobody's been kind of watching the canon for Mutant Chronicles. So it is, the Protoss did something with it, Modiphius did something with it, and the original Target games, did different things with it. So you can kind of decide, what world you enjoy the most and how you want to play.
Well, I don't necessarily see that as a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, more of stuff is generally better, right? So, and like you said, it's going to be your game anyway, especially if it's an RPG. So having different things to choose from.
Right. And unless, Target Games is resurrected and kind of like, takes all of those IPs back in, there isn't going to be, it's all going to be independent, smaller independent companies developing this.
Unless they get embraced by the Embracer group.
Yes, right. Unless they feel the embrace. So mentioning that, I guess I'll do this a little bit in reverse, but saying that and the sadness of them losing that, also they mentioned they're going to do 50% off all of their Mutant Chronicles inventory until June. They just mentioned now the dump of all of their Kickstarter kind of stock for Siege of the Citadel is now available on the UK web store, only UK web store.
Okay.
So it's going to kind of screw you currency conversion-wise and shipping if you want to get something in North America, but it is everything that they offered, broken up into bundles that are a little bit clumsy and do work out to be about $400 if you want everything. Yeah, it's pretty clumsy. But that book, the limited edition collection of all of their PDFs printed, plus the history of Mutant Chronicles is there. And that's anybody that saw that flip through, the book is just, it's really worth, it's worth it. It's a nice collector's piece and kind of celebration of what they do. And also, conversion guides for Siege of the Citadel tiles and heroes into the RPG.
Nice. The biggest thing I remember from first edition to second edition Warzone miniatures game was how crap everybody became.
Oh yeah,
because it used to be like it was like a D20 roll under system or something. Then people had like missile weapon or melee weapon scores of like 18, and then like roll under an 18. This is possible. And then it became like, it became like 11. Like things dropped to like 11. I'm like, wow, basic troops have like scores of 8. We're missing like half the time, and it was a big change. It felt like a big change, but.
Yeah, so we'll see what they're doing. And if you listen to that interview, there's kind of some reveals about how they're going to kind of spotlight Warzone Eternal is going to focus on the 5 mega corporations.
As you would.
And a mechanic for basically instead of like attacker defender, in every game you're playing a player of light and a player of darkness, and that allows you to include either Dark Legion, which is originally going to be Algaroth, or Brotherhood units in your amongst your fire teams. So you're gonna have support teams. So I thought it was. I really want to see how this is going to work, but it does make a little bit of sense because the ongoing war. It's not really clear in the lore. Was the ongoing war and the clash of the corporations, was that all for profit, or was there dark symmetry like motivating them to do certain things?
Did someone in the basement of like a Capitol building put the steam pipes in the wrong configuration to let dark symmetry through? I don't know, right?
Yeah, so we'll see. And there's also an option to just totally not play with that mechanic at all. Cool. So, light and dark is just basically attacker defender. You can think of it more like those two roles, and you don't have to include any other. But it gives you more flexibility in how to include things to kind of buff your fire teams or have like, just mobs of undead legionnaires.
I was going to say, like, the only thing I care about, do I get to put those Ezo ghouls in my thing? Because the old Siege of the Citadel models were amazing. Little undead centaur horse things, right?
Nice. Yeah, so take a look if you missed that, and it's great. There's a huge unboxing, like a 2.5 hour unboxing I did for that.
How slow did you go?
It was It was as fast as I could. There was so many trays. Yeah, it was boxes and boxes. So this is the chance to get a hold of that. It's not going to retail. This will be your last chance. And it's about, I think 50 pounds, British pounds for the base game. So it's pretty affordable if you want that original base game. But then there's so much that they produced for it, so much cardboard and so much stuff. And if you want to, like if you are buying up the RPG, this actually works well with the RPG.
Nice.
The tiles that they did, they correspond very well to different parts of either the Dark Symmetry campaign or the later Dark Legion stuff. Sorry about that. So the reason I brought up Modiphius is because they have another release, and it's the thing they're actually actively supporting. So we're seeing Dune, so more come out for Dune. So we already had a Sands of, it was an Arrakis source book.
Because what else are you going to do?
Right. You were going to do that other planet? Yeah, the spiceless planet?
The spiceless planet.
So this is the Agents of Dune campaign box set.
Okay.
And what it seems to be is kind of a what if scenario.
Okay.
So you make your original house. Like there's rules to make your house in this setting for Dune Adventures in the Imperium, and you are replacing the Atreides. Like you are the house that has to manage what's going on Dune. So it's a standalone adventure, and played in the exact same universe, but kind of changing the facts of the book to kind of create some more personally custom tailored drama to what and kind of how you want to play. Like the house you made is going to be the kind of house.
Do you replace your antagonist, or is it Harkonnen?
They don't say. Yeah, they don't mention yet, and it could be maybe kind of up to you who you're opposed to, because maybe you are basically as evil as Harkonnen. You guys would just bond. Just be a bond.
Oh, you guys do heart plugs too? Us too.
What do you know? Yeah. So basically, you're seeking control of the spice on the planet. So you're setting up new trading agreements, forming alliances, mining and selling spice. So it could be a little technical, but the nice thing about this board game, if you've seen images of it, it's a ton. There's standees and a ton of different charts and different ways to physically represent like the status of things, like how much is being, so you're using a lot of actual accessories in the game. I hope it doesn't make it too board gamey, but it is a nice way to kind of visually be seeing how things are going. So your house is the new governor of Arrakis in this what if scenario. So with the eyes of the entire Imperium watching your every move, can you retain your control of Arrakis, or will this appointment spell destruction for your house? Yeah, no mention of the Harkonnen. Yeah. But what this gives you is a complete 116 page adventure with step-by-step guidance. So kind of a starter set. I think maybe because they didn't have a starter set for this, and they kind of went right into the core book and source books for it. So maybe they are kind of backing up, because like you mentioned when I showed you the playtest rules, it's like, this is a lot. Yeah, it's not.
And that's from someone who likes TTRPGs. I'm just kind of like, oh, yeah.
Right. So 5 character folios for the members of House Nagara, if you don't want to make your own original.
Yep, sure.
2 50-deck cards of NPCs, assets, and traits to use during play. A complete spice harvesting system to keep track of your successes and failures running Arrakis. 3 handouts for zone maps to bring the experience to the gaming table. 54 tokens, 2 trackers for momentum, threat, and determination. And then custom D20s, 5 custom D20s with the symbols of the Great Worm. And also included in this box is a free digital code for the core rules. So it doesn't include the core rules, but you get the full core rules. Or, as we mentioned previously, you could buy for $740 US the artisanal leather-bound source, the core rules book from Modiphius, which is available in limited quantities.
Did you say 700?
Well, it's 550 British pounds. So yeah, I roughly converted to $740 US. And it does have some, it's like gilt edges, so it's like colored edges. But basically, the content is just
so when you get a paper cut, it'll hurt even more.
Right. It'll get infected with whatever ink that they use. Yeah. But so they have So just in case, so I guess this would make a nice companion piece, and so they're not gonna. They're not going easy on the price, even with this. I was really surprised they named the suggested $80.
Ooh,
81
on the money. What do I win?
Yeah. Yes, ding ding ding. So $80 before shipping, and so that's up pricey. Usually
kind of a lot.
$40, $50 for those nice box with a lot of extra accessories.
Maybe they're not seeing this as a starter set then.
Maybe
because that's not starter set price.
Yes, no, that's not at all. And there's no physical core rules in there. There's just the adventure and then all of the supporting materials for that. So there's not an exact release date. June 2022, June of this year is what they're aiming for. But yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering. They seem to be floundering a little bit with what they're doing with Dune. So they're doing this crazy rich collector's version, and now we'll guide you through playing.
I'm gonna have to go soon, but I'm still chewing through the Dune series. I'm up to started book 6.
Oh wow! You're
okay. Like there's a lot I could say about it, right? Nobody's good. Right, like nobody. Right. Okay, arguably Leto II, the tyrant. Right, arguably only because he had a pretty decent motive. Right, he was a horrible. Anyway, off track. I'm really wondering. Like that series gets weird.
Yes. That can't.
I don't think I don't think Dune could ever be a movie past like the first, second, or a third book. Because what are you going to do when you get to book 5? Hey, sex fight. Right? Who wants to see this? Right? Like it gets. Okay, you know what? Okay, it wasn't terrible. I'll admit to that. But like, it gets weird.
Yeah.
And I really think the area you could play is that first movie area, right?
Yeah.
Because once you get to maybe the first 3 books, right? Okay, because you got the first book, then Paul becomes the prophet, and like up into the 3rd book, we have like kind of like the jihad.
Right.
Okay, you could play that, right? Once you get to like Leto II, the tyrant, I suppose you could play that too, but the whole point is he restricts fucking everybody to the planet for 4,000 years so that everyone gets wanderlust and scatters. And he intentionally makes things fucking boring, right? There are little pockets, right? But then after that, you're just like, there's a lot happening. But the main thrust is kind of so clear, you really have to step away from what happens in the book to play in that setting, which I think exacerbates that whole thing about if you're not going to encounter stuff from the media, why are you playing this game? Or are you playing this game? Right? So I wonder if we're going to see more what ifs from Modiphius, because... what else are you going to do?
And that's kind of telling you how to play. It's like, we're not going to play House Atreides. Oh, okay.
Okay, but you are playing House Atreides, just we're gonna, not the name.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's very true. And I think they're going to keep coming up against that because Modiphius, both Modiphius and Free League are doing a lot of licensed IPs now. And that is, the license does tell you what material you have access to, and you're going to have to make an RPG that exists in that, and how interesting is that, and how much variation. I mean, that was the one thing that, going back to their Mutant Chronicles, they really did a good job of giving you so many multiple eras and styles of play. You could play as Doom Troopers, you could play as Investigate, you could play as Luna PD. Like, they did a nice job of giving you some variation and not saying, no, this is the way that, you're only freelancers, like first edition, you're only freelancers. They did a nice job of that, but I think with other licensed IP, they're having trouble, especially when there's not that much media.
Well, that's the thing. There's not that much media for Dune, and unlike Star Wars, where it kind of seemed like an afterthought, like, oh fuck, we're on Tatooine again, right? Again, like this backwards. No, like in Dune, it kind of seems like no, this is a story of Arrakis and the Atreides bloodline, and if you think and that's through all 6 books, so you're kind of like, let's play not Arrakis.
What?
Okay, why? Right? Like there is other stuff, but we know basically nothing about the other houses apart from the names. And there's minor houses in the Landsrad, right? Whatever. Good, you can make your own. You're on your own. Apart from okay, you've got a planet. There's going to be spice somewhere. You probably have a Bene Gesserit and Mentat advisor, but all the rest of that's on you. I'm just okay. I don't see how you're going to make source books.
Yeah, right.
Unless you...
It's a lot of blanks.
Yeah, unless you talk to, I forget, his son, Brian, and be like, can we use some of the pretty terrible stuff you've written as prequels or afterwards, right? Because otherwise we got nothing for source books. Oh, another Arrakis source book. Because that's all there is, right? What other planet has been detailed? Apart from maybe Giddy Prime. And not even that much, apart from it's an oil-soaked hellhole, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, and it's frustrating. I think and maybe that's going to spell gamers are going to start getting frustrated, and that might spell the end of the licensed IP.
Maybe,
because I think that's what previous. I think like the '90s were the age of, well, I want to play this IP doesn't exist, I'm just going to make the D&D do this, so
that's still happening.
A lot of people are we're just kind of doing that, and a lot of that stuff exists online too. There's a lot of PDFs of things that people have developed for licensed properties. Now the official versions are coming out, and you're realizing the limitation of that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to last, but it does seem, especially Free League and Modiphius are digging in deep to licensing games, and
some licenses work great. Like I think they got a lot with Alien, right? Like, and they've done a lot with that. Blade Runner, okay, still kind of left to be seen. Conan, Modiphius is cranking out that Conan stuff, which that has a lot of media attached to it. But I think that's a setting where, okay, we know enough about the setting and the Hyborian age where we can make stuff for this, right? Like, whereas Dune is just like, we've got sketches of other planet because they're not really important in the story.
Right. And I think a lot of the Brian Herbert stuff is like prequel stuff. It's like setting up to the events of Dune. Yeah, so, I don't know. But we'll see. And speaking of Alien, there'll be some stuff coming next week about Alien. Yeah, there's news of what Free League is doing with the Alien. And there's lots of stuff. There's a straight to streaming movie in development and stuff. It's a lot of crazy stuff.
Well, I heard Ridley Scott is coming back for some kind of Alien.
Yeah, he's producing. Yeah, producing. So we'll talk about that next week. Awesome. So stay tuned for Alien news. we'll need a graphic. Oh, and we're still
It's still,
we're still doing Gygax. We're still doing some Gygax.
Oh, Gygax turned for a lot that one. Hey, what's half an hour?
Yeah, Modiphius and Gygax not actually related. So let's wrap this up. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always. That's Hivemynd, HYVEMYND, where I'm unfortunately talking about anime horse girls.
No, not the pretty derby.
Yes, yeah. How can you not talk about it? Boat girls, gun girls, plane girls, horse girls. I mean, it's just like, what are they going to MOA anthropomorphize next?
I saw the ad for that on New Year's television in Japan, and it's just like, this is not real. This is like it's a sketch.
Yes,
it's like some skit, the joke.
It's real.
Yeah, no.
One of the most popular mobile app games in Japan, up there. Yeah.
Well, girls aren't good for much, but racing, I guess.
But, no, they're not girls. They are
oh.
award-winning racehorse spirits reincarnated as teenage girls with the strength and endurance of them. And they have to race and, of course, dance. And you have to be fucking on something to come up with this idea.
Right.
What does it say about me that I'm talking about it a lot?
Right.
I don't know.
I blame the Shinto religion. Yeah,
no, I blame all the energy drinks on it that I've been consuming. Yeah, and all the late nights where I'm like, "This is hilarious." Next day, oh my god, what the fuck am I thinking? Yep. How about you?
So I do a single panel gag cartoon that you probably have heard me talk about. Abuse cartoons on Twitch and YouTube, and gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And the 20th anniversary is this year, so I'm putting together a collection of 20 years of this insane cartoon.
Nice.
And I guess I better write something about it too. I think I'm out of thinking about it. I'm done thinking about it. But if you'd like to support what we're doing here, please visit patreon.com/upturntable and become a weekling and let us know what you want to see covered in the future, and send us awesome graphics like Matt did for our As the Gygax Turns segment.
Or ideas for graphics.
Yeah,
we could probably make them,
That's true. And upturntable.com is the website for everything. And there's a great interview with Alex from Res Nova. Also, I had if you'd like a chance to win the Twilight 2000 core rules and the supplement that Matt and I worked on, Friend or Foe, please watch our video where we talk about that and leave us a comment. And from the commenters on that video, we'll randomly draw. And
so I can spam it with a bunch of comments, right?
Yes, you can. We'll dilute the pool. So employees and their relatives are not eligible for this drawing. Okay. But that's all for this week. We will be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. And as a little treat, while you guys are waiting and while Chris is getting ready to go, do I have it? Let's try.
I still don't know how you fucking see anything.
Let's try this. Okay, see you next week. All right. So that was a little live clip for you there of Kokoro no Me, the theme song Chips, done live, or the track that we use on this live stream for the weekly, done live. So yeah, I thought it would be easier than just you guys hearing us talk off mic as Chris gets ready gets ready to go. All right. Okay. So let me check the chat and see how stuff is going. So yeah, good to see you, Matt. Yeah, you suspected you might not make it, but great to see you. Hey, unknown girl, how is it going? Very good. Hey, Kayla. Nice. All right. Yes, there is always probably going to be more updates for Gygax for as the Gygax turns. Nice. Oh yeah, right. Their museum. That's right. If they have too much legal trouble, they're going to lose their ability to hold on to or fund anything. Yeah, especially if there's judgments against them, and it's actually going to, put liens or whatever on whatever is involved in how they organize TSR. So Matt asked, how do you match up Warlock magic and Warhammer color magic and priest powers? So they do divide kind of holy magic and magic separately, and I'm using the spell list or the spell list from either first edition or more specifically because I'm using the a lot of the setting and things from the fourth edition Cubicle 7 for Enemy Within running this Warlock. And so because there isn't anything outside of Tzeentch right now, I'm kind of just using, and that's basically what that the first adventure, Enemy in Shadows, offers, is Tzeentch magic. So any scrolls or anything that they find and anything that anybody they come into contact with is just Tzeentch. And that's probably going to expand. I'm just going to kind of follow how they were doing it with the original adventures. And you could train magic if you got access to a different school of magic. But right now we have an elfin astrologer, I think, is our only kind of magic user. And so, but they do a nice job of separating between the religious powers and then the winds of magic, kind of corruptible magic in Warhammer Fantasy. But it hasn't come up yet as far as like the different colors, for the different schools. So we will see. Nice. So White Star. Yeah. So with Modiphius dumping it, White Star. Yeah, that's true. Like I was saying last week, the Soviet-styled Russian megacorporation is not going to be popular. Yeah, so definitely Sons of Rasputin shall ascend, and hopefully with Warzone Eternal, that's what they're going to focus on. Hopefully they get to the Dark Eden. They get to that. They get to the Dark Eden tribes of Old Earth. That would be great. Mishima using Dark Symmetry with their Shadowbringers. Ooh, nice. Nice. Let's see. Oh yeah, for $700. Yes, it's. I wish it was. Yeah, it's not the leather from Shai Halud. I don't know what kind of leather it is, and it looks. It's a little bit the Necronomicon. It's a little bit like Evil Dead looking. The way that the leather is in the photos, you can see the leather is stretched over the binding. It's very sinewy and looks a little bit disturbing. But I guess for $700 you get disturbing. Oh man. And I hope hopefully it is spice infused. The paper itself is spice infused. Oh, and just a heads up for the it got blocked by the filters, but comments on Chris wearing a mask in Japan, that's pretty standard. And it's also hay fever season right now, so everyone is still 100% masked in Japan, and it's an Asian thing. If you see Asian people in your country, they're much more inclined to wear the medical masks already before any of this had happened. So it's not a political statement here. It's more including yourself in society. So the only people not wearing masks here are visiting foreigners. So it's not, there's no politicalization of it here. So it's a little bit different, just so you understand. But Matt says, but is there, so it's artisanal leather, but is there an NFT for it? So I hope there is an NFT for that pricey. Yeah, that's too bad. That was one thing that would be fun for Chris to react to. So Matt said, I really don't see Dune as a viable RPG for the long-term play. One-offs maybe, kind of alien RPG. Hearing it shines as one of those one-off things in long-term campaign really isn't alien anymore. Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's really true. They do have those rules, and when the core book was released, then you saw cinematic and campaign. But unless you're so we'll see how that comes out. And I'm curious because I haven't seen the core book for the Colonial Marines yet, but I wonder if they do try to include, because you could do campaigns of kind of corporate wars almost, and then there can be intrigue and infiltration of Xenos. But I wonder what they do with that, because the longer you stretch it out, it's not a deadly alien movie, and things just go to hell so quickly in all of those movies that it would be it'd be quite a character funnel. I guess if everybody played 4 characters, then you could actually have survivors after a campaign. But no, I think that's a good point. All right. Hey, K5, how's it going? Uh-oh. Oh, wow. So a lot of after work for customers. So, wow. Waiting for a new engine. That's crazy. Well, I hope you're doing okay. Thanks for dropping by in the chat. Nice. All right. So Miguel said the original Mishima source book said the first Shadowbringers came to be after an Algoroth minion fled, taking along with it a bunch of dark symmetry stuff. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I hopefully in the lore they're going to kind of pull from that the kind of interaction, and especially with Cybertronic, there's kind of it's a little bit mysterious, how they're able to resist things. So playing Cybertronic, that a corrupted Cybertronic force might be kind of fun and thematic, but we'll see. Yeah. So another 20th anniversary book, aside from the cartoon one that I'm working on, that I arrived, is this Xenos, this Eisenhorn, the first volume of the Eisenhorn series of books. This is really disappointing. I just wanted to mention this really quick. Games Workshop is really screwing up. They're totally fumbling their streaming service. Warhammer Plus is absolute garbage with nothing coming out. I mean, their YouTube channel is more interesting, and it doesn't cost, it's not a pay to watch thing. They're really, really screwing up what they're doing for their streaming, showing that they're unable to manage anything that has any technical requirements. But the quality of these books is really letting me down. This is really interesting. So it's an annotated, illustrated version of Xenos, the book 1 of the Eisenhorn series. And just a quick look, I know the camera's way too far away for this, but you see there's red text inside, which are the notes, which are Dan Abnett's notes about, what he was thinking, what this is based on and stuff. And there's a lot of really nice kind of background information hidden in there, as well as illustrations. So they're doing these black with red keyed kind of illustrations. Yeah, sorry, that's not very visible. But because of the paper choice, which is really rough and really cruddy, like it feels more like the paper quality of a mass market. It's pretty transparent and maybe a little bit thicker than mass market, but really rough, like almost like newsprint, kind of those kids sketchbook rough. So basically, you're not even getting blacks. Like they're wasting their time with doing illustrations that they are getting just dark grays. They're not even getting black out of it. So I don't know what's going on. Again, these are printed in China, and this retails in the U.S. for $40 US. This is a ridiculously overpriced, like poor quality book, and I'm really, really depressed that they've shifted into this. And if they keep doing this with these books, then the last thing that I enjoyed about 40K is basically gone. I was seeing people unbox this book, and the ribbon not even being glued into the ribbon bookmark, not even being glued into the binding. So I don't know what's going on, but open this thing. And this is not exclusive to Games Workshop, so I don't know if this is, the publishing, the, paper printing and publishing industry's trouble with their supply chain or whatever, but the paper quality has taken a huge dive. So I would caution anybody against buying a recently published like anniversary edition of anything. It may be better to source older editions, because there's a real huge drop in quality, paper quality for books recently, hardcover books, and they're more expensive than ever, and more cheaply made, and mostly printed in China. So I don't know if there's like the Chinese print shops are just screwing people over, and they're not really realizing how much more poorly made these are. I'm hoping it's still decent, like acid-free paper. They don't list the quality of paper or anything, but it's much more worth it going to small indie presses that do limited runs of books and tell you exactly what paper stock and everything that they're using to bind and print their books, because a lot of this mass market kind of publishing stuff is really, really poorly done now. And so, yeah, I was really depressed to get this. I love this book and wanted to see the kind of additional version. I only have this in paperback, so a hardcover was exciting. And the book arrived all, I don't know if you can see, all beat to hell. Every corner is bashed, so it's been dropped several times. So rant over, but yeah, I was just the last thing that I liked about Games Workshop has already disappeared. All right. So Miguel says, so who knows what the glowy sea yes is using for those implants? Yes. Excellent. Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do. So Jeremy, do you have a big picture timeline video for Mutant Chronicles? I have I combined what we were doing for the Mutant Chronicles lore series into one 90-minute video. So it covers everything, chronologically. It covers the whole timeline up through the first chronicle, which is the second corporate war, which is kind of like where the setting for Warzone Eternal is, and where they ended up setting everything. So first edition Warzone, second edition RPG are all set there. So it's not abbreviated, like it is 90 minutes. But you can either watch it in pieces on the playlist or the complete. If you go to, I think it's linked in the Warzone Eternal Facebook group as well. So yeah, I can put a link to that. Miguel cannot believe it. GW screwing up. Yes. Yeah, I know. Definitely the overhead. Well, the nice thing is, secret, if you live in Japan, there's not a huge market for English books, right? So this is basically, GW sells this for about $28 US if you buy it in yen through their web store. So it's about 3,000 yen, which is much less than $40 US. And I think this goes to Amazon and everything as well, so I'm sure it has a discount there. But that's the nice thing about being in Japan is they'll ship to you, and there's quite a bit of a discount for English language books. So I was really enjoying that and taking advantage of that. But I don't really want to have any of these books around. They're not very enjoyable to read, and yeah. It's too bad. It's too bad that they're fumbling so many aspects of their business, and maybe they're just getting too big and spread out, and they're losing focus on something they could do well. All right. The 4th edition codexes fell apart the second time you open them. Yeah, right. That's a big problem that I've seen a lot, and especially trying to buy older editions of Warhammer books, is a lot of them are not intact, or when you get them, they're pretty busted. Like they, even if they were very gently used, they didn't age well because they weren't glued well. Like the binding is very poor, especially when they went to soft cover for a lot of the codexes. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, I'm wondering if this. Well, there's kind of two things that seem to be happening in the printing world. Is this whole push for sustainable and using reclaimed, recycled percentages in all the paper in the books, and that there's no markings or any indication of that in here, but I've seen that with other books that they're trying to. There's an organization or a mark they put in books a lot. You'll even see it even on the napkins at Starbucks and things, that they're trying to use a specific percentage, and it's all about just kind of an ecological, green movement. But I wonder, because they did say they had disruptions in paper mills were having huge disruptions. That was giving us the toilet paper towel crisis of the early 2020s. But I wonder if there is still, and they're just doing the best they can, to kind of keep things going. So they're getting whatever grades of paper that they can. But it's really a shame when they're doing these anniversary, editions of things. It's really depressing. So this is the content of this book, a PDF of this book would be wonderful because it's got some fun illustrations, a little bit comic booky, as you can see, but great illustrations. And the interesting thing from the very beginning of this is Dan Abnett said he was writing, other books for 40K, and they sent him some inspirational pictures from the Inquisitor. I think they're like the 52 millimeter Inquisitor game that they were developing, and to inspire him for other content. But he said, "Hey, can I just write an Inquisitor novel?" And they said, "Sure, if you can get it finished before the release of the game, if we can release them simultaneously, yeah, sure, go ahead." And that was the creation. That was the inspiration for doing Eisenhorn. And he said that there was no planning with it. Most of the novels were very specifically planned. He just kind of wrote straight ahead with this. And you really feel that. I think that's why this is such a fun book, is because you don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't seem very structured. It's just very much an adventure, and it's very much noir kind of, detective style, which was, there hadn't been anything like that before. So I think that's why this is standing out as such a remarkable book. And so the annotations are fun to read because Dan Abnett gives a lot of background information about his inspiration for things and why it's in first person. The noir, aspect, kind of like immediately he was thinking first person would be the way to do it, and it just kind of happened. There wasn't a lot of planning with this, and I think it's only 2 months. He wrote it in like 2 months, so it's amazing. The probably one of the most popular books and one of the best regarded books in all of that Warhammer. It was probably the simplest and quickest and most easily written. It's crazy. Very good. That's right. 40K themed toilet paper with a 30% 30% markup. Yeah, well, this is getting pretty close to bound toilet paper. For me, it's a very, very low quality book. I was really surprised by how poorly. And watching people online, a lot of the British YouTubers that do a lot of Warhammer stuff, getting this book, opening it up, and it's like pulling the ribbon loose out of it. So yeah, there's been a lot of, and hopefully they're going to pay attention. The quality control may be a little bit lacking, and you just can't keep going full steam ahead when things are still not back where they need to be. Yes. All right. You have to choose between Imperium and Chaos rolls of toilet paper. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this weekend. So I hope you like the little treat of the live music. I hope this doesn't get the live stream taken down or struck. I'll put a link to that video, the live performance that we did for the middle there. I'll put a link to that in the description, so you can go see that full thing. I think we got all the way through it, and there's some other live performances and music videos and stuff online. So I'll link that stuff up if you enjoy the music that we use for the weekly. And otherwise, so it was good to have Chris back, and just for safety, because there was still people floating around. Chris had a mask for this stream, so we'll see. Hopefully things calm down and schedules and everything, but we still haven't quite peaked yet. Like the infections and things are still very mysteriously continuing. So sorry about that, and I know it's probably very different, in compared to where you are in the world, but bear with us, and we'll get through this as soon as possible. So thank you for watching. I'll be back again next week. And a special thanks again, Matt, for donating the trans rights bundle to us. We're going to definitely make an effort to go through some of the things that stand out in that bundle to us and do some reviews and some plays on that, because that was a really, really generous thing to do. Thank you so much. And we will be back again next week. So take care, everyone, and see you then. Goodbye.